So, autistic people have to deal with a lot in life. One of the main challenges is, well, neurotypical people, and they outnumber us profoundly. There's way more neurotypical people and they call the shots. They're our biggest enemy in a lot of ways. We need them, so they're not really an enemy, but yeah, a lot of autistic people struggle with neurotypicals, and I want to talk about a few of those reasons. It boils down to a different in perspective. It really does. We have a different perspective, and oftentimes when you're in a group of people, people like to have the same perspective. They like everybody to look in the same direction as others, and when you have trouble doing that, you're inevitably gonna deal with issues. What I have found is even when the group of people is accepting of all backgrounds and ethnicities and whatnot, I still struggle. I still struggle to really align myself because everyone seems to be better at it. What is this? Like, why is it that autistic people struggle in groups? I believe we have a disproportionate empathy. I think we tend to look at the individual more and understand their emotions, but not the sort of emotions of the group. That is, there's a group think out there, a sort of collective consciousness that people seem to tune into. When there's more people, it seems to be a stronger signal for whatever reason. I'm going to tell you that when there's more people around me, it's just noisy. I'm not seeing anything clearer, I'm just experiencing more noise. The strange thing is, I feel like I experience this sort of sense of community through other people. Whatever they're tuning into, it's a cognitive empathy, not an affective empathy. See, the social hierarchy really matters to neurotypical people. They talk to you differently depending on where you are in that social hierarchy. And unfortunately, us autistic people are awkward enough to be at the bottom of that hierarchy almost right away. See, you can be great at your job and brilliant in many ways, but behind your back, those neurotypicals are going to say negative things about you. I've seen it happen time and time again with professors on the spectrum and how awkward they are, even though they're great at physics. No one wants to be around them because, well, they're just uncomfortable. And, that's just the way it is. Neurotypicals find a lot of us off-putting. Maybe not everyone. And I know that I'm better at certain times, quote unquote better at certain times, but at certain times I can't mask well and I just kind of sit there with a blank stare. And they don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like more than that, though. What I have found is whatever group of people you're around, whether or not they're accepting of all backgrounds and ethnicities and whatnot, people tend to align their thought process with one another. They like to look in the same direction, and when you're looking another way, it just kind of complicates things. It makes their subconscious just it's uncanny. It's just like, well, what's wrong with you? Everyone else is thinking this way, why not you? And I think this backfires on us. There's some pluses. You probably have a set of principles that are more secure in whatever foundation you built than a lot of neurotypicals. The vagaries of a neurotypical, it entails changing your moral code depending on what group you're in. I've seen this happen with friends where they're this person here and this person here and that person over here. They're fitting into whatever sense of community they're tuning into and forgetting about themselves, the individual. And that's honestly how I see a lot of neurotypicals act. They care about the collective consciousness and the social hierarchy more so than anything. More so than anything. So I already said this, they judge you based off that, but they play based off that. When there's any sort of gossip going on, throwing somebody under the bus, that is a device to raise yourself up that social hierarchy. And there's many ways in which this manifests in the job, wherever, even just in third places like a skate park. This is a thing. Neurotypicals set up this structure where people outrank one another, and that's what's important. It's important how high you are on that social hierarchy and how you climb it. So the thing is, when everyone's tuned into this thing and you're not, it's going to quickly become like a 5v1, a 6v1, whatever. And when you're autistic, you're going to have a low cognitive empathy. You don't know how to handle it. You don't. It's just kind of happening. You can sense it happening because you might have a very high affective empathy, but you don't know how to actually handle it. It's very frustrating. It really is, because a lot of the times it is just subconscious. I don't think neurotypicals really know why they do what they do. They just kind of do it. And that's why their moral code is constantly changing, and their interests and their ideas, they're more susceptible to this sort of thing, the propaganda and bandwagon effect. So yeah, it just backfires on us for that reason, and that reason alone. We're judged not based off our character and as an individual, just based off how the collective group looks. So I've kind of repeated myself a couple times just to really set in. That's what I think, and I think we struggle a lot because of this. Now, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew a little bit more about it. Would I tune into it if I knew I would lose myself in whatever sense of community there is? Probably not. I wouldn't want that. But at the end of the day, when something bad happens, people aren't on my side. They're not. It doesn't matter if I was being neglected. It doesn't matter if the neurotypical was in the wrong. They default to they're in the group, you're not. We're all going to bandwagon with them. And so we oftentimes just get overlooked because it's not the individual who matters, it's the group that matters and how you measure up in this group. So it's just frustrating for us a lot of times. What I have found is, maybe it's not appropriate, I almost talk to everyone the same. Like a 7-year-old the same as a 50-year-old, which probably doesn't work well, but the thing is, it's just hard for me to know how to talk to people based off the social hierarchy because I'm not really tuned into it. So it just backfires in many, many ways. I hope that kind of, resonates with somebody, that it doesn't mean you're a bad person or even just an uninteresting person. A weird person, maybe, but you're not uninteresting just because people aren't interested in you. They're interested not in the individual again, but the collective group, what the group is doing, not the individual. And this is why the neurotypicals, are more likely to throw other people on the bus, lie, cheat, steal. It's all in the name of the social hierarchy.